Sure. My name is Tony. I'll be reading the part of Benjamin, and the play is Enigma.
And this is Stephanie speaking now. I will be reading the part of Enigma.
Who are you?
Who are you?
You don't know who I am?
Your account number at Central Illinois Credit Union is 073-2466-894. Your security question is your first car? Your answer is Radio Flyer Wagon. Your actual first car was a Nissan 200 SX. Your alternate security question is, what is your mother's maiden name?
Okay.
Your answer is, my mom is better than your mom. Your mother's maiden name is Collins.
Okay.
Is that who you are?
Yes, you got me. I don't have any money. Not much. I'm a college professor. But you know that. Is that why I'm here? My research? It's on SciHub. You don't need me. Just look it up.
What is the advanced encryption standard key size?
And that you can find on Wikipedia.
What is the advanced encryption standard key size?
128 bits. 256 for U.S. military applications. Or you can run AES at 192 bits, but no one does, because why would you? You know that. You want me to know that you know that I know.
The fastest known integer factorization algorithm improves on the general number field seed by an order of...
That's classified. Who are you? What government are you with?
No government.
I'm not telling you shit. Who are you?
My name is Enigma. This play, in overarching theme, is about identity. Specifically, how do we define identity when we don't have the typical references? That is, what if I'm in isolation? Then who am I? This script was developed by Tony originally about 20 years ago, and when all of the quarantines around the COVID-19 pandemic began to sweep the world, he approached me to collaborate on a total rewrite of the script, which was made especially poignant by the themes of identity and isolation we as a global collective were experiencing.
And then we were lucky enough to get it into production very rapidly because TAG, the theater you saw it at, had to cancel their season due to the pandemic. And I suggested to them that the script was specifically tailored to the circumstances, not just thematically, but in terms of staging and production would suit their audience well. That we could put on a play with one actor on their stage without having to worry about COVID restrictions. The other two characters, as you know, are voice-only actors, and that worked out very, very well under the circumstances. I'd actually rather talk about the process of writing it now with Stephanie because it's a much better process. 20 years ago, I really didn't know what I was doing as a playwright. And one of the things that works really well for me now, Stephanie and I have written 3 plays together at this point, is there is a tension between the fact that I am a director and I approach a play from that perspective, and Stephanie is an actor and she approaches the play from that perspective. And so she is a fierce advocate for the emotional reality of the character, and I am a fierce advocate for the presentation of the story to the audience. So between the two of us, we ensure that we have sort of well-realized, well-rounded characters on stage that tell a compelling story for the audience.
Tony and I have a kind of intensely collaborative process here that is every word of every scene in every one of the plays that we've written, we've sat together, whether in a coffee shop or these days on Zoom calls, to put these words on page together. So typically what that looks like is Tony has his word processing program open on his laptop, and he'll write a contribution. I will then either grab the laptop from him and write a contribution. It's less of a grab. It's much more polite than that, mostly. And then we will read out loud every word that we've written together. So while this might not be the most schedule-free easily slot in playwriting sessions at 2:00 in the morning, like we actually have playwriting dates on the calendar when we dedicate this time and focus energy to be together for every single word. It's been very fruitful, I must say, but I also would be remiss if I didn't say that it wasn't difficult. Very worth it, I think.
There's a process before we actually start putting words on the page. The other part of the process is very important. The way we work together is we spend probably several weeks to a month or multiple months in conversation with each other before words even hit the page, just talking about who the characters are, what they want, what they're going after, making sure that we have well-defined objectives for every character, for every scene, and just sort of thinking that through. And then we capture that information. As we start writing the scenes, we go back to that and we revisit that to make sure we've actually done what we set out to do. So that's an important part of our writing process, even though there's no actual words going on the page at that point.
Thank you for bringing that up, Tony. That is a very important part of the process. And interestingly, I consistently forget because these conversations seem to come up spontaneously. We'll be having a social call like, hey, how are you doing? How's the weather in your part of the island? And we'll start talking inevitably about some character that we both care very much about. What are they doing? How's their relationship? So it's almost like getting to know a group of friends. Let's say it's an ensemble play. And the more we learn about them, the more we absolutely must write their story and find out what happens to them.
Well, we co-directed this play also, and that allowed us, in this particular case, a certain latitude, because we knew we were working on a very, very tight schedule line because of the production schedule. So we had some scenes that we knew we would have to fill in the pukas, the holes in rehearsal. But that's atypical for us. Generally, what we would do is we would get together a group of friends and we would do a read-through of the play, and we would watch how people encounter the script for the first time, what they make of it, what things we didn't make clear on the page, and then we'd go back and rewrite and reshape and rework, and then bring it to the production process.
Yes, Tony brought to the table a very important point that all of our plays are ideally read by actual humans who have never seen the story before, which means that we have their input, not necessarily their active feedback, like things that they want to say after they've had the experience, but in the moment of them reading the script out loud, we realize where maybe we as playwrights have made an assumption about something that we could have made a lot more clear. Because at its core, theater is basically advanced storytelling. And in the ways that storytelling has come down through the ages, oral histories, and so on, these stories are told out loud to other humans over and over and over, and they are refined in the fire of that process. So we, as modern storytellers, call upon that same tradition. We read the words out loud, we see them live, and then we decide which of those words, after having seen them live, aren't actually living as well as they could be, and we revise accordingly.
Yeah. It's also worth repeating that, again, Steph and I both have a lot of experience in theater, not as playwrights. I've been directing for the Hawaii Shakespeare Festival for 20 years. Stephanie's been acting for 20 years, more.
Goodness, so more likely, yeah.
So we're not strangers to what happens to a script when it lands in the hands of actors and the kinds of assumptions that can be made and the work that has to be done by the team with the script once they get it in their hands. So we're familiar with that from two different angles. I would say right now, the easiest way to get a play produced is to produce it yourself. Right now, the bar for production is extremely low because so much theater is happening online anyway. So literally anyone in the world can put up a play with a webcam and a script, and you could act in it yourself. If it's a monologue play, you could draft some friends to do it with you over Zoom. And again, it's easier than ever to find an audience now because now your audience is not limited to your neighborhood. It's everyone worldwide who's got an internet connection and a laptop. So I would say do it yourself if you can.
My tip is definitely not for everybody. My tip is very specific to the craft of storytelling, and this is pertinent to anybody that's interested in directing or anybody interested in writing a play. Going back to my previous point about storytelling and the importance of having these words happen out loud, I'd say find a partner or a collaborative group that you can bounce ideas off of, read each other's stuff. Even if you're not working on the same project together, it is the most valuable feedback to have an actual separate human being heart and mind and life experience to get your words or your stories into a different perspective and see things that maybe you can't see from your own worldview. What I will say is that Tony and I have 2 other plays that have not yet been produced, and we would absolutely love it if anyone listening to this right now is interested in finding more of our work. They are very, very different, so whether or not Enigma is your kind of party, certainly one of our other 2 plays might be in a genre that you find enjoyable, so look forward to that.